The Patriots have essentially said they are ready for battle. In the latest chapter of Deflategate, the NFLPA filed an appeal for Tom Brady, and the Patriots have created a website, context.com, to respond to the Wells report. The Pats claim the report's conclusions are incomplete, incorrect, and lack context, ignore scientific explanations for the drop in football's inflation and the use of different air pressure gauges. They claim the report ignores testimony given to investigators and misinterprets text messages between team employees that were meant to be humorous and not a plot to improperly deflate footballs. The rebuttal also says there is no evidence Brady preferred deflated footballs. Several key takeaways about Jim McNally we should also talk about. Pat say he didn't have enough time to deflate footballs in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Also, the term deflator was used because McNally was often known as a guy who was trying to lose weight. Digest all of that. Skip Bayless.
Are you trying to bias this question, Carrie?
I just want everyone to digest
I think
it
you
all.
just allowed your own commentary.
Digest it all.
Your objective setup.
Oh, objective, huh?
Right?
Okay, what do you make of it, Skip Bayless?
Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to ask everyone out there in TV land, and you too, Mr. Smith, to please step back for a moment and let it sink in what just happened. One of the most respected owners in the National Football League, maybe the most respected owner, Robert Kraft, a man that you, Stephen A. Smith, often refer to on this show as Mr. Kraft. I also do. Mr. Kraft. Maybe the strongest, staunchest supporter of Roger Goodell of all the owners in the National Football League, just broke ranks, just went rogue, just broke all the NFL owners' rules, and he attacked the report commissioned by the commissioner, Roger Goodell. In effect, Robert Kraft just attacked the credibility, publicly attacked it, of Roger Goodell. So Robert Kraft just went Al Davis on Roger Goodell. He just went Mad Max on Roger Goodell. he just went website. He went website on Roger Goodell. I mean, they established a website for this 20,000-word report.
You're right.
Are you kidding me? Robert Kraft. No, this is no Jerry Jones we're talking about here. No knee-jerk, crazy owner who might just do any or say anything at any moment. No, this is a man who looks before he leaps. And he just leaped all over one Roger Goodell with a 20,000-word report written by the attorney who sat in on every interview conducted by Ted Wells and Associates to come up with the Wells report. And Stephen A. Smith, this rebuttal says in the big picture that Ted Wells arrived at his more probable than not conclusion by taking all of these texts completely out of context, by connecting disconnected dots. The rebuttal also brings in the commentary provided by a Nobel Prize-winning scientist who completely debunks Wells' findings by pointing out that the Colts footballs were checked indoors near the end of halftime of the AFC Championship game. So obviously, in warmer climate, they had time to inflate. Warmth inflates. I thought that was fascinating, and I thought that held a lot of water. I took that one to my bank. I also like the explanations provided that Tom Brady increased his contact with Jastrzemski, the equipment assistant, because the guy was suddenly thrust onto such a hot seat that Brady's close to him, and he just wanted to make sure that he was surviving okay emotionally and psychologically. He was about to be under a lot of fire. I can buy that. That's consistent with Tom Brady's personality and persona that we've seen for years and years and years. When you say Tom Brady's had a spotless reputation in the National Football League, when you say he's as good a guy as we've ever seen come down the pike as far as how he treats people, I would. And I've talked to a whole lot of people about him. I've never heard of one discouraging word about Tom Brady. And I must say, it is certainly plausible that this McNally character did actually stop at the restroom to use the restroom for 1 minute and 40 seconds. Is that enough time to do your business and wash your hands and leave?
I don't know.
I say yes.
Okay.
I say yes.
You can do it in a minute 40?
I can do it in a break on this show. Right. I'd be just fine doing it in a break on this show. Now, to be completely objective here, though, I did not love the suggestion that McNally was referring to himself as the deflator because he's attempting to lose weight.
Yeah.
You know what I thought that was?
Yeah.
I thought that they were trying to parody the Wells report because it was often laughable to me also. The more I stepped back and looked at it.
Look at
so I'm thinking maybe that part of this was over-the-top parody of the Wells report. I'll give you that much. But in the end, all I know for sure is that the man that you respect more than any other owner, because you've often told me that, just declared war
Game on
the commissioner he has staunchly supported. Go ahead.
First things first, let me say that referring to yourself as the deflator because you're trying to lose weight is so damn laughable. It's ridiculous.
Okay,
it just shows.
Okay, I'll give you that
it just
one.
shows. It just
keep
shows
going.
how desperate the lawyers were reaching to go there. Don't rush me. I just listened to you for 5 minutes. I'm gonna take my time. Relax.
It was actually 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
It wasn't.
Which was
it
well
like
under
5
your
minutes
record
and 40
of 7
seconds.
minutes and 18
seconds. You guys, come on now.
The difference between me and you is that you always interrupt me when I'm getting ready to make a point because you don't want people to hear my point.
Let the con man in Chicago go. Go ahead, sir.
I'm not rushing. I got all the time in the world. Here's the deal.
Go ahead. Make jokes. Because you got no ammo to fire back.
Skip, you're absolutely right. I have absolutely no ammo because you're nitpicking. You're picking the report apart. Skip, I don't know what to say to you. You read the report, and initially you thought it was indictable against Tom Brady. Now you stepped back. Now you've stepped back, and then all of a sudden, you've got all of these holes you want to poke in it after speaking to people close to Tom Brady. I understand it. I'm not going to knock you for that, Skip Bayless. I refuse to be moved by that. Because if you recall, long before the investigation was completed, even during Super Bowl week, in Arizona, I was sitting there looking you dead in your face and saying to you, don't tell me the quarterback knew nothing about the deflated footballs. Tom Brady lost me when he tried to pretend and feign complete ignorance as to what had transpired and what was going on. I told you back then, it was much ado about nothing to me. I didn't find inflated football to be a big deal. I didn't give a damn if it was a Nerf football he was throwing around. He stomped the Indianapolis Colts. They ultimately beat the Legion of Boom. There's nothing to talk about. They're Super Bowl champions, and he's worthy of it. The flip side to it, however, is when the man tried to sit there and tell me that he had no knowledge of deflated footballs when, in fact, he's the quarterback. I don't believe that. Now, if we want to debate the significance of the penalty, we also have to point to the fact that his lack of cooperation, at least perceived by the NFL league office, plays in part, at least, to the 4-game suspension they ultimately handed down. There's nothing to refute that. The fact of the matter is that you were not willing to turn over your electronic emails, text messages, your electronic information after they had asked for it, and that played a role in them handing down the suspension that they handed down. Now, there's one issue to dispute the deflated footballs and his specific role in all of that. But there's no disputing what they interpret as his lack of cooperation. And if they're saying that that's part and parcel as to why they handed down a 4-game suspension, last time I checked, it's specifically within the commissioner's right to make whatever ruling he deems suitable, because that is power bestowed upon him by the very owners he works for, which includes Mr. Robert Kraft, as well as the Players Association, via collective bargaining negotiations. And speaking of the Players Association, I like DeMaurice Smith, and I'm in no position to question his efficiency, his competency, or anything like that. I won't do that to that man. I respect him. I respect the way that he's going about the business of representing the players from what I know, and I will give him his due deference and respect on that in that regard. But I must confess to you that the Players Association is getting increasingly annoying to me, because once again, we see a line here where it says, given the NFL's history of inconsistency and arbitrary decisions in disciplinary matters, it is only fair that a neutral arbitrator hear this appeal, as opposed to Roger Goodell. Well, damn it, who the hell collectively bargained to give him that power? That was the Players Association. So you want to sit there and piggyback off of that and to try to engage in revisionist history or to do whatever it is that you feel the need to do so you can change what you collectively bargained for? I don't want to hear that. As it pertains to Mr. Kraft, Skip Bayless, here's the bottom line. The respect that I had for him, the Patriots being America's team, I still believe that. Him being America's owner, I still believe that. I love this man as an owner. I respect him profoundly. I have nothing negative to say about Mr. Kraft. But just because he's taken this position, I'm not moved by it. If I were him, I would do the same thing. He believes his franchise quarterback. He believes his head coach. He believes in his organization. And Roger Goodell's decision, indicting his organization, essentially labeling them cheaters, guys who skirt the rules, who try to circumvent their way around things that patrol this game, he has taken a personal affront with, and he should. He owns the franchise, and he doesn't believe that to be the case. I don't blame him one bit, but that doesn't mean he knows every little minute detail that Tom Brady engages in, nor that of Bill Belichick. I have no problem with Robert Kraft taking this position. He is standing up for his organization and the subordinates that work under the name of the New England Patriots that represent his brand. That is what an owner should do. I find no issue with it whatsoever, but I'm also not taking it to the bank that because he's going after Roger Goodell, that there's an elevated level of veracity that ultimately gets attached to the New England Patriots because of it. He believes what his quarterback and his coach is saying. I do not. Period.
Okay, do you realize that the man you respect so much just went website on the commissioner? Do you know how profound the impact of that is? Do you know how much he just broke ranks with all the other owners?
So what?
Listen, this is not a man who just goes off half-cocked. This is a man who had the entire week before the Super Bowl to conduct his own investigation. And what did he do? Moments after he landed in Phoenix, he marched right to the podium and said, I have an announcement to make. You're going to owe us an apology. That's how strong. Remember, he had been able to question all of these people. I'm sure Mr. Kraft had questioned Jastrzemski and McNally the week before the Super Bowl. He had lots of time to do that. He knew what he was speaking of, and he is digging in like I've never seen an owner dig in before.
Oh, please stop it.
The
fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, Skip Bayless.
Show me one.
You want to let me talk? Because I had a question for you. I'm trying to get you to
ahead.
answer my question. Can I ask you the question?
Yeah.
Did you not know all of this before when you read the Wells report and you came to the conclusion that it looked really bad for Tom Brady? Did Robert Kraft not address the media, not demand an apology, didn't dig in hard before you read the Wells report? Did that not happen?
Yes, but I told you yesterday. Yes, I read the report overnight. I read it late into the night trying to watch a playoff game, and we came in at 10 o'clock the next morning, and I said, you know what, you got me. I still believe in Tom Brady, but there's such a preponderance of circumstantial evidence, including...
But that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying to you is, don't you give me Robert Kraft because you knew what his position was before he went to this length. You knew he was coming because you knew he was going to stand up for the Patriots. But you knew he was going to stand up for the Patriots. You knew he was going to stand up for Bill Belichick. You knew he was going to stand up for Tom Brady. He had already demanded an apology. Skip, I'm not surprised by this. This does not move me. I fully expected this from Robert Kraft because he believes in his personnel. That doesn't mean that he knows definitively. He just believes Tom Brady. That's all this is.
Okay.
He's standing up for his guy.
He believes that Tom Brady is 100% innocent. If Brady had even hinted that, well, we did fudge it occasionally, there's no way he's doing this. He would just say, you got us. We're going to take our medicine here. You know,
All right, so look, so now that we know that they're fighting, let's talk about the next step.